Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to demonstrate how to do a jelly roll race quilt. Now, why is it called a race quilt? Well, when people go to take either a quilting seminar or they get together with other quilters to do projects together, sometimes just for fun, they'll take jelly rolls and they'll do a very basic stitch pattern to see who can finish first. So it's a really easy quilt to make. So let's take a close-up look at a jelly roll. Here is a jelly roll that's got multiple shades of pink in it. I find that when doing this particular jelly roll race quilt, that if everything looks too close to the same color, the design that you should wind up with doesn't quite stand out as much. So the best thing to do is pick jelly rolls that have a variety of colors, or there's definite lights and definite darks and definite medium shades. Some maybe with prints, some without prints. So I could combine this jelly roll with it because it kind of goes together, but this has metallic on it. So it's got this silver metallic, but the shades will still go well with this. The amount of strips you need to be at least 40 strips. If it's less than that, it's not going to come out exactly to the size you want it to. It's going to come out kind of a funny shape. So you want to pick either a jelly roll that's 40 strips or pick 2 jelly rolls that are 20. So when you go to pick a jelly roll, it's probably cheaper to buy 2 jelly rolls sometimes than it is to buy one big giant 40 strip jelly roll. You can go to Joann's and get them for maybe around $12 and take a coupon with you, sign up for the Joann's app, and you can probably do it for $25 with 2. If you're going to do it that way, if you're going to buy 2 jelly rolls that are 20 strips each, make sure they're not identical. Get 2 that kind of harmonize with each other, where the colors will kind of go together, because you don't want too many strips of the same color or print. You want a really nice variety. Leave your strips in the order that they were on your jelly roll. Then you're just going to take your first strip and you're going to cut it in half. So I usually just look for the little fold line that's on your jelly roll strips and just cut it right there. Then take this strip and set it aside and use it in another project. Take your shorter strip and then take the next strip and you're going to stitch these 2 together and you're going to begin to chain piece all of your pieces together. I like stitching my ends together on a diagonal. So overlap them, and I've left the selvage ends extending out because remember, we don't want those. And I'm going to stitch from this corner down to this corner. Now, if it's hard for you to do that, you could draw a line across here and then stitch right on top of the line. But that takes a lot of time. What you want to do is when you insert it into your machine, you're going to lower your needle down here in this first corner where the 2 pieces of fabric meet. And you're going to keep this corner pointed right at you. So let me set this aside. Let's insert it into the machine and make sure it's all lined up and it hasn't shifted. And just start stitching. Now don't back stitch. What you're going to do is you're going to take your next strip. So here's my end of my first one. I'm going to take the next strip, which is my green here, and take that end, and I'm going to place it underneath, and the end of my last pink strip on top. front sides together. Now in the quilt world, there's something called chain piecing. That's why I didn't take it out of the machine. You just keep inserting your next strips right in there, and you just continue stitching. So again, stitch corner to corner, keep this corner pointing right at you. I'm going to take my next green one and place it underneath. So here's my next green one. It's going to be on the bottom. The previously stitched green one is going to go on top. And again, selvage edges extending out, and just chain piece. So here's my end of the strip I just stitched on. I'm now going to go to these blues and add them on. And remember, it goes on the bottom. Front sides together, and then stitch them together. So you continue doing that until you get all the way to the end. Okay, I've just finished stitching my last two strips together, and now I'm just gonna take it out of my machine. So what you wind up with is this big long chain. Everything's connected. So what you want to do is get a pair of scissors, and you're going to trim your some of this fabric off till where it's down to about a 1/4 of an inch wide. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just go for it. So I'm gonna cut my little stitches in between and cut this down. And I'm not gonna be real perfect. I'm just gonna go along and just cut these down. So you can just take all of these pieces. Now, some people who sew like to keep them. I don't. I'm just gonna throw them in the trash as soon as I find my trash can. I'll just set them up here. So the next thing you wanna do is take your end right here, and you're going to go all the way down to the very end and grab that other end. When you're reaching for the other end, you want to make sure your fabric is not twisted. So because I'm kind of one-handed, my right hand doesn't close, my daughter helped me make sure that it wasn't twisted. So I'm going to give you that little tidbit of information. But it's very important your fabric's not twisted. So here's my two ends. I'm going to bring them front sides together. And I'm going to stitch along this side all the way down to the end, stitching a 1/4 inch seam. So I've got this pile right here. I'm going to push it off to the side. You may want to put it on the floor. It's really up to you, but I'm just going to keep it off to the side and pull it out when I need it. So you just go in and you're going to do a 1/4 inch seam. Now your seams are not pressed. In the jelly roll race, they do not press their seams. So when you get to a seam, just kind of bring it all in one direction, and that's all you really need to do. So here we go. Just straighten up your fabric as you go along. I'm almost at the end. So what you want to do is, once you get a little ways from the end, you're going to take some scissors and cut right on that folded area down here. Doesn't have to be a beautiful cut, but just cut it and then go ahead and finish stitching the two last little bit together. Now you want to unfold it and open it up. So you want to go all the way down to the other end, opening your fabric up. Once you've got it all opened up, and I kind of fold my strip in kind of like an accordion fashion, and I'm going to bring the two ends together just like we did before, and then you're going to stitch along this edge all the way down to the end just like before, except this time your seam isn't quite as long. It's only half the distance. And again, when you get close to the end, you're just going to cut right on that folded end down here and finish stitching it. Then you're going to unfold it just like you did before. And so now you have doubled the width of your quilt. You've gone from 2 rows to 4 rows. So go ahead and unfold it again and bring your ends together. Make sure you bring them front sides together, and you're going to again do a 1/4 inch seam all the way down one edge. And you're going to notice every time you do this, your seam gets a little shorter. So go ahead and stitch all the way down that edge. When you get close to the end again, just cut it like you did before. Cut right through that fold. Don't worry if it's a little jagged, because when the quilt is all done, you're just going to clean up your edges anyway, so don't worry about that part. Finish stitching it. And then do exactly what you did before. Unfold it and bring the two ends together and stitch again. Now you've gone from 4 rows across to 8 rows across. So remember, you're bringing them front sides together, and now stitch the two edges together all the way down to the end just like before. And you'll notice the seams are getting shorter and shorter. Almost to the end, go ahead and cut it again right on that folded edge. And finish stitching it. Now you'll know you've got 16 rows across, so you're going to unfold it, bring the two ends together, and stitch it one more time. All right, I'm almost at the end, so I'm going to cut it again. So do just like you did before. You're just going to go cut right on that fold line. All the way across. And now when you get done, you're going to finish stitching that side seam so you get it all done. And don't worry about your bottom edge, because you're going to be cleaning it up. Okay, now you've gone from 16 rows to 32 rows. Well, here it is. It's all done and it turned out so beautiful. And you can see your colors automatically were scattered throughout the quilt, and you'll have seams in the middle of a row, towards the end of the row. Some rows won't have a seam. It's just hodgepodge of seams all over the place. Now your two side wrought edges still need to be straightened out, so before you can put any binding on it, make sure you straighten out those two edges. You can also put a border on it if you want to make it larger. Now make sure you follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to check out my Facebook page. If you're interested in other quilting projects for beginners, make sure you check below your YouTube screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing! I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click on the thumbs up button, and don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right hand corner of your screen. Click on the bell so you can receive notifications about my latest videos. I'm Cheryl, and this is Scotty, and this is Manny. See you next time, and happy sewing!